Go ahead.
All right, so we're here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Here with Mr. Corey Barnette, owner of the Metropolitan Dispensary. What's the name?
Metropolitan Wellness Center and District Growers.
Gotcha. Two businesses operating in D.C. right now. A lot of people don't understand that's happening right now on the East Coast. And we've got business owners that are here getting asked a million questions.
Yeah, it was good though. It was good.
I know, wonderful questions asked by future business owners in this industry that I'm hoping in the next couple of years, big names we can come and talk to about this. So tell our audience here a little bit about what we just heard from you. What are the big ideas that people coming into the industry should know before they get started?
Well, that's a big question. It's a big question. We just gave a presentation that talked about our company, the theory behind how you actually go about winning licenses, how you go about setting up a facility, how you think about actually building your company, and the level of thought that you should put into it from the beginning versus finding yourself sort of behind the curve later on as ramp up begins to take place and things like that. And so we thought we'd give a little feedback or a little input to the industry here in North Carolina because there are some significant opportunities with the way the laws are being crafted here and the way that we see them moving. And so we wanted to come down here and get involved and really begin to sort of understand the lay of the land in this marketplace and try and lend a hand in sort of helping some of the up-and-coming entrepreneurs here in their development of their concepts and their approach to the marketplace.
We're really ground level here. This is the first year I feel like people can come and we're seeing in such great numbers, people willing to say, I want to be a part of the marijuana industry, cannabis industry. So that's huge for us. The thing that really jumps out for people who want to get into the industry, you should have how much before you start one of these operations?
It's interesting. If you have an industry that just starts out rolling and you don't have a lot of malaise, let's say in the system, and there are no significant delays, then for a dispensary, if you walk in the door with just say 250 or so thousand in cash, then you're probably well funded. That's radically different than, let's say, a cultivation center. Your cultivation center has to be a lot more sophisticated. You have a lot more footprint. You need more space. You need more development and things like that. And so I caution people outside of the application on day one when you open your doors, before you buy your equipment and everything, you probably need somewhere in the area on the low side. The best I've ever seen it done is probably about 500,000 or 600,000, and then I've seen cultivation centers get well into like $1 million to $1.2 million. And so I think that if you're going to just do a nice stable rollout, you probably are safe, planning on like somewhere around $750,000 worth of just support going into the cultivation process.
So certainly it can be a mom and pop operation, but this is somewhere the financial side of it is going to require a serious.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've seen people bootstrap it all the way together and just take it step by step by step. But I encourage people to have a little bit more planning behind them and to have gone out and gotten their financing and gotten their financial partners to understand how this is more of a marathon than it is a sprint. And to the degree that you can get a nice base of capital, then it just affects your ability to be successful. And I mean, if someone is able to start their build out with at least 500,000, then you have enough. It's just that you're not going to be able to run at the pace that some of your other competitors are going to be able to run at. But this is the kind of business that you should be planning on being in for the next 20 years. And so over a 20-year span, that $750,000 that XYZ person had is not going to make that much of a difference, over a 20-year span. But over that first 2 years, it's going to be a huge difference in everything. And so you just won't be able to be as robust as some of your competitors. But that doesn't mean you can't be good within whatever little sections of the market that you're playing in.
Gotcha. Now for us in Tennessee, we have a lot of people that people call pot pilgrims or marijuana refugees that are moving to Colorado because they have that child with epilepsy or that family member with AIDS and need to get that help right now. They can't wait necessarily for changes to come to, let's say, Alabama or Tennessee. For a lot of people moving to Colorado, the cost was just prohibitive.
Right.
So now that Maryland and DC have kind of made this change, even though it's more how do you put it, on the fringes, because it's strictly medical, there's no recreational on the table. What would you say to those people to make them second guess? Maybe I want to move to Colorado or possibly DC. What would be the factors?
I think that's a personal decision that a lot of people have to make. You know, obviously, you know, the cost of living in Washington, D.C., or even in the D.C. area is far more substantial than the cost of living, let's say, in Colorado. So, you know, but, you know, everyone has to sort of make their own sort of personal assessment and do what's right for them and the person with whom they're, or to whom they're trying to give care. From our standpoint, though, we really like the way the laws are shaping up in the district, and we think that it's positioning the district to be, over the long term, you know, within the next, definitely within the next 5 to 7, maybe even 10 years. I think you're going to see a radical shift in terms of who people think, you know, the better market is. Colorado has a great thing going on. California has great things. Washington State has great things going on. But I think that when you consider the density, the number of people who are treating themselves with cannabis in the Washington, D.C. area, and just the fact that it will, you know, as our laws change, it is becoming it is already the largest metropolitan area that has a medical marijuana law outside of Los Angeles, and that's pretty much it. So, you know, from that standpoint, there's a lot of promise there, and now that we've been able to get the laws right, I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing a lot of the growth that we were showing people the other day. So.
Got you. Now, Representative Alexander, who was speaking earlier, touched on an issue, and it's something that every time I see an African-American business owner or an advocate, it's a silent issue. A lot of times we don't like to talk about it, but obviously it disproportionately affects our community.
Sure.
Obviously, a lot of people are negatively affected by the kind of status quo in prohibition states. As yourself, as an example, kind of shows you can do this. This is possible.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You talked about the diversity of your staff.
Right.
How much does that affect your business day to day? How much does that come into play?
You know, I don't know that diversity on the staff helps us to be better cultivators of cannabis. What I can say is that there's a lot of diversity in the patient base, and I think that we're very sensitive to the way that we put products on the shelf and the way that we market our products and things of that nature, and when we think about the taste profiles, the potency levels, the intensity, and things of that nature, we're considering who the entire patient base is, because we're kind of like, you know, from those a lot of different categories ourselves, and so we're not just producing one type of product that sort of caters to one section of the market. And so I think that's one of the things that diversity sort of helps out with on our team. But then it also gives us a variance in the level or the types of ideas that are coming at the table. Diversity of people oftentimes manifests itself in diversity of ideas that are on the table. And I think that's one of the things that's kind of kept us very innovative relative to some of our competitors. It prevents us from falling into these sort of niches that we can't really get out of, because we can't, you know, think differently or things like that. And so I put up a slide that has our concept that we call Grow True, and it's one of those things, one of those words that was on the on that sort of word map was, you know, diversity of ideas, and it's a strong point that I think, you know, stems from the fact that, you know, we do have people from a lot of different types of backgrounds. We have white people, we have black people, we have Asians, we have at least 2 Hispanics that are on our team. We have people that are, you know, heterosexual. We have people that are homosexual, and we have just a wide diaspora of types of people on our team. And I think, you know, I'm really proud of the way that we're building district growers, and I'm really proud of the way that metropolitan justice is being met. And we constantly hear it from our patients, you know, like, oh wow, I didn't even know any black people worked in this industry, or I didn't even know that there were women who grew. I didn't even know all of this sort of stuff, and it shouldn't be that way. Cannabis has a far-reaching impact, and why would you think that, you know,
The great unifier.
right, that there were no black people that were interested in cannabis? I mean, for 7 decades, we've been the primary group of people that have been getting locked up for it, because we've had the largest distribution network located right in, you know, most of our communities, whether we wanted it there or not.
Right.
But today, you know, as an industry is being built, you know, I would hate that some of these talented cultivators that are in different communities and some of these, you know, talented product makers, regardless of their gender or sexual preference or what have you, or skin color or whatever, I would hate it if they're not involved in this industry, because some magical things are happening and we all really need to get on board.
Really, the time of transition, we come back to that point, it is very soon this will be a fully legitimate industry. You're going to be one of those leaders, there's no question at this point.
That's the plan. That's definitely the plan.
Well, I asked this question to Vanessa when she was speaking earlier. What is it that when you have an applicant come in to work at your facility, the thing that really shines through, like I see that in them, I like that, or I don't see that in them?
When we hire, we're not looking for experience. We feel we've designed a training program that, in our opinion, is designed to teach someone to do the things that we need them to do. So we're looking for some other things. One, are you a cultural fit? You know, we have a team that has a very defined culture, and it's important that after we've been working together for 7, 8 hours, 9, 10 hours during the course of a day, that, you know, I'm not in a position where I want to strangle her, you know what I mean? But more so that, you know, that cultural sort of fit is continuing to strengthen whatever our efforts are. And we're looking at the next few hours like, yeah, you know, I can still work with this person, and we can still get things done. So we're kind of looking for cultural fit. We're looking for honesty. This is an industry that is an all-cash industry, and for the most part, you know, we need to make sure that everyone who's sitting at the table is honest, and so we're looking for that sort of thing. And you know, I would say that, you know, we're assessing the personality more so than we are the skill set at the time, because we believe like I said, we have a training program that can really help, you know, instill the kind of skills that we need someone to have.
Gotcha. So, final question. For people in the industry who would like to be legitimized, who would like to come to DC or different areas where this is a working industry right now, what are those hurdles that are still there?
Well, you know, we're not giving out any more licenses in Washington, D.C., so there's no real opportunity to, you know, start a new dispensary or cultivation center. However, our laws are evolving in a way that allow people, such that it may be allowed next year that, you know, if you want to have an edibles company or something of that nature, you may be able to come in and contract with a dispensary or something like that. That's way down the line, but that's where the trend seems to be going. Cultivators are more and more realizing that they're good cultivators. They may not be good bakers. You know, they may not be good product makers. So if we're going to have a robust offering to patients, we have to realize in the industry that not everyone smokes. You know, someone suffering with lung cancer shouldn't be smoking. You know, and we need to be able to provide the diversity of products necessary to make sure that that person can do it. And so, like, you know, right now, for someone who wanted to do some of those alternative types of products, you would have to come in, make a relationship with a cultivator, come in as an employee or as an agent, produce products on site, and then that cultivator would have to be your sales force as well for those types of products. That kind of thing happens and can happen. But hopefully we'll get to a point where, you know, people can actually set up their own separate companies and actually make products and then sell them through cultivators to the dispensaries as well.
Gotcha. So much good information to digest. I want to thank you again.
No problem.
Reporting here live from Charlotte with the Tennessee Progressive League and East Tennessee Normal. Thanks for viewing. Have a great day.
Real true.